buenos días desde Chicago. My name is Bernice Vargas Luna, Program Manager at ACE, the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, a national nonprofit whose mission is to positively impact the workplace by cultivating the pipeline of Latino talent, providing insight, access, support, so that they are successful in their career. I'm a proud Chicana from Chicago, a Mujeres de HACE program alum, and a small business owner. I am so excited to welcome you all to today's Cafecito, where we're going to be celebrating our Mujer Maravilla Award and talking about our Mujeres de HACE Quinceañera brunch. And I'm also going to call it a reunion because we have Mujeres de HACE alum coming from all 15 years, coming to celebrate our 15-year anniversary. So just so excited to have everybody join us. And then I'm also excited to welcome our guest today, Ruby Garcia. Hi, Ruby. Good morning. Ruby is a Latina Leadership and Life Coach.
Good morning.
Hey, Ruby. She's a hypnotherapist, program lead for our Mujeres de HACE and Mujeres de HACE Entrepreneurs Program. She's also an alum of the program. She empowers Latinas by helping them go from self-sabotage to self-mastery. And I absolutely love her posts that help us navigate the first-gen experience like a pro. She obtained her Master's of Science from National Louis University and her BA in Organizational Leadership from Dominican University. Hola, Ruby.
Hola, it's so good to be here with you all today.
Thank you so much for joining us. A quick announcement here for us. We have our ACE National Leadership Summit next week. We have our hybrid Quinceañera event. That means we're going to be live streaming the event for our virtual audience in celebration of our 15 years of Mujeres de HACE program that has graduated over 3,200 women from over 13 countries. And at this event, we're going to have a special keynote speaker, our award-winning actress, Amy Garcia. And just to tell you a little bit about Amy Garcia, I'm going to read out her bio here. She's an award-winning actress that headlined Netflix's hit Christmas with You, which premiered #1 in 80 countries and #3 in the US. Other TV credits include Lucifer, Dexter, The George Lopez Show. In film, she starred in RoboCop opposite Michael Keaton and The Addams Family with Charlize Theron and Oscar Isaac. My favorite part here, on the writing front, she co-wrote Universal's Blade of the 47 Ronin, which debuted on #3 on Netflix, and comics Wonder Woman, Black and Gold, Glow, and Dungeons and Dragons with A.G. Mendez. They co-founded Scrappy Heart Productions to make diverse heroes the stars of their own stories across media and to give the next generation the stories that they didn't have. Currently, they are developing Mendez's New York Times bestseller memoir, Crazy is My Superpower. She's a Chicago native, Northwestern University graduate, and part of the Chicago Red Stars ownership group. She works with various nonprofits, including MOSTE, the National Hispanic Media Coalition, Bernie's Book Bank, which provides free books for children in under-resourced communities in Chicago. She has 2.4 million engaged fans across her social media platforms, and she is proud to be a Mexa-Rican from Chicago. So just wanted to share that with you, just so you know some of the guest speakers that we're going to have at that Quinceañera brunch to celebrate our 15 years of Mujeres de HACE. So thank you for joining us, Ruby, and let's start off by telling us how you like your cafecito.
Well, I thought about you this morning when I made my cafecito. This is, I know some of you are going to be like weird, but this is mushroom coffee, a mushroom coffee latte. So that's what I'm drinking this morning.
Wonderful. And mushroom coffee is I'll say it's a trend, but it is a morning routine. It gives you additional supplements and energy and focus. I'm a fan of mushroom coffee. That's awesome. Thank you for thinking of me. I have my cafecito as well. You probably can't see. There you go. My cafecito is, leche con crema. Usually, café de olla is my favorite. And I drink coffee all day, every day. So that's me. So thank you so much for joining us. Ruby, tell us about your cultural and professional background.
Sure. I'm Latina, I'm first generation Mexican American. I am, let's see what else. First gen college graduate, first gen corporate professional, first gen entrepreneur. So a lot of first in my line. I spent about 17 years in the corporate sector doing a lot of sales and sales leadership type of roles, and then kind of found myself ready for change. I had gone through actually the Mujeres program, and at the same time was going through a coach training program, and really started to kind of reevaluate, where I wanted my career to go. And what I was really passionate about was, professionally helping others and personally. And so I really decided I wanted to make that switch and go from, corporate employee to becoming an entrepreneur. So I've been a coach for the last, I think last 9 years now. Time is kind of flying by at this point, but not about a little over 9 years at this point, coaching mostly Latinas, women who are going through life and career transition, and first gen BIPOC early professionals.
Thank you for sharing that, Ruby. And like I mentioned in our intro, I really love reading your posts and articles about setting those boundaries, learning how to say no, when to say yes. Marianismo, you touch on that a lot, being the martyr or not being the martyr, and all those different things. The first gen experience, right? And so I get so much out of those posts. So check that out. Check out Ruby's LinkedIn post if you haven't already. And Ruby, you're our guest today because we are celebrating our 15 years of the Mujeres de HACE. We're going to have our quinceañera brunch on Friday, April 21st next week. And we're going to be awarding 15 Mujeres de HACE alums representing the 15 years of the program. And that award recognition is the Mujer Maravilla Award. They'll be recognized for continually positively impacting the world around them. And so you are one of our awardees this year. So congratulations to you, Ruby. You are representing our 2013 year. Congratulations to you. Can you tell us what inspires you to empower the Latina community?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the recognition. I think the biggest thing is there's a couple of things. I think one is, part of my mission is for the Latina voice to be raised and amplified. I feel like our stories really haven't been represented. We've, been undervalued. And so I just really want to create more space for our voices to be heard, to be seen, to be valued. So that's part of it, is just kind of that amplification. The other side of it is I guess it's my own personal kind of conviction. I feel like I was so empowered through the ASE program, through my coach training program, that I want to be able to share that with others. I think for a long time, I underestimated my own power, my own voice, I guess my unique gifts, but others saw it, and others kind of, helped to pull that out of me. And so I want to be able to do that for others as well. So it's kind of that kind of pay it forward mentality. And it, I just really think like now is the time for that.
I love it, Ruby, and you're getting a lot of love in the chat. Congratulations, for that nomination, for that recognition. And, again, I really love when you talk about the boundaries and the things that we should have heard, right? And that the things that you now want to share and tell others, and really taking out the fear. I truly believe that that's really our only limit, is our own fears and our own insecurities. And I had the same experience when I went through the Mujeres de HACE program in 2021. I'm not afraid anymore. I take things head on. I find solutions. And I think before it was more of a blocker, right? You kind of see the negative and don't see that way out, and it's the mindset. And so that's something that's really obtained from the program, and that you've taken that with you, and you use that in your coaching and all your experiences as you network and coach other people. So that's amazing that you do that. Thank you.
Yeah. And Bernice, I will say this too. I think why the program is so powerful is because for so many of us, we're the only ones in our teams and our departments and our companies or whatever. And so we think we're the only ones that like don't have these tools. Cause that was a big aha moment for me. Like there's two things that I always say that, there's a lot of things, but two things that really were big aha moments for me was there was all these tools that ASE gave me around like personal branding and, how culture influences leadership and, financial conversations and all of these things that I had nothing, I didn't know anything about. I didn't know the difference between a mentor or sponsor. So that was like a big aha moment, because I realized all my counterparts know about this, and that's why their careers are accelerating and I didn't, right? And so it kind of felt like that only one made me feel like there was something wrong with me, right? But then being in an environment with all these other mujeres that were kind of having these eye-opening moments at the same time, it was like, oh, it's not just me. This is like, we don't have access to the same things. And I got really interested in why don't we? And then the other part of it was really just around the whole values, right? And some of the cultural values and the way they show up in the workplace. And, so much of even the content that I write today in one way is inspired through, learning about that. In ACE, we talk very particularly about certain values, as they relate to the workplace. But that conversation intrigued me so much that I started to dive deeper into that, which is why I like write about Marianismo or some of the other topics about, boundaries or how this plays out, because it's so embedded in our culture. Unless we take the time to realize how they're showing up, it's not that the values are right or wrong or good or bad or either or. It's just more about like, how do we utilize them? And is it a default thought or behavior that we're falling into? And does it empower us? Does it serve us? Or is it something that we just kind of need to bless and release? You can take the good and then kind of leave, what doesn't serve you. So
I love
those were two big things that I kind of got out of the program.
I love what you said, the bless and release. It's something that I heard before. I've heard before. It's like when you have a negative thought, let it go, and bless it and let it go. And so, bless and release. I really love that, letting go what doesn't serve you, acknowledging, what are those limiting beliefs? Like you said, is it a default? This is something that you can work on, or, is it something that's not serving you? So I really love that. Really that acknowledgement of that mindset. And again, it's all within us, right? We all have the power to impact the world around us, and it starts within us, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the brunch again, and really what it means to you to receive this Mujer Maravilla special recognition. We wanted to take the anniversary of 15 years and do this recognition, and then also have this carry on for the future, right? Have a recognition that we have for the mujeres that are out there impacting the world. So tell us what it means to you to receive this recognition.
Well, I was talking to you today, and I kind of shared this with you, and it's kind of a little bit vulnerable, but I received the, announcement, and I got really teary-eyed. I think I shed a little bit of tears because it just felt like a full circle moment for me, having gone through the program 10 years ago. And I tell everyone, I talk about ACE all the time, right? And I tell people like how it's been such a pivotal milestone in my own career trajectory, and how it's helped me grow, and the connections and the friendships and the relationships that I've, gotten from ACE. And so it just really feels like a full, circle moment of how ACE, in the community has really impacted me in my life. And I'm very, very privileged that I get to continue to do this work as I'm leading the entrepreneur program right now. And I've led a couple cohorts through just the, Mujeres program. And so it's really exciting. And then to know of some of the other recipients and who they are, it feels like just a privilege and honor to stand alongside them and to continue doing this work and uplifting our community. So I feel very grateful. And dare I say, even a little humbled, even though we talk about not being humble, but it's sobering in a way, but in a good way.
And I didn't realize that it's 10 years from when you, so that's significant, right? It is kind of like a highlight or a marker there 10 years later, all this that has happened, and now you're receiving this recognition, and you've received so many others as well. I've seen them on LinkedIn. And so, we definitely can see you doing the work out there and empowering the community. And, it was just so satisfying to see you receive it and then have that connection to the Mujeres de HACE as well. And then also as a program lead and also as an alum to others. And, I keep calling the Mujeres de HACE reunion next week because we are expecting to see mujeres from all the different years join us. And I know there's conversations going behind the scenes of people, staying with each other and making plans to meet and all those different things. So definitely, if you haven't had the chance to get your ticket for the program, as an alum, you get a discount. As a program alum for Mujeres de HACE, you get a discount. So send me a direct message if you haven't activated your discounts. We'll make sure that you get your promo codes to use that and purchase your tickets. We'll throw it here for the audience to see if there's any questions that they might have for you. I will share, again, they're sharing a lot of love for you. Someone said, Ruby, I have loved how you have shared your experiences and your journey. It had purpose, it no longer has. Let it go, keep learning the lesson and let go. So people are really resonating with that message. So thank you so much for sharing that little bit of advice. And as we go through and get a few more questions from our audience, tell us, what are you hopeful for this year, either in your professional, personal, anything that you're looking forward to that you want to share?
Well, I'm excited about a lot of things. I'm excited about, well, for one, I just got to give a shout out to my entrepreneurial cohort right now as they're preparing for their pitches. I'm really excited to see their growth because I think part of the value of this program is it's not only the professional development, but there's so much inner transformation that takes place. So to kind of know, where they came in from and then how they're going to be leaving, and this project is kind of an indication of that growth. I'm really excited about that. Some of you know that I've been working on a book for the last about 6 months, all about navigating, workspaces as a first-gen professional Latina. And I'm really excited about that. My intention is to have the book out by Hispanic Heritage Month. And through that process, I've been, interviewing different folks and learning about their stories. And that's been super inspiring to me because people want to share their stories.
Yes.
People have something to say and there's value in what they're saying. And to me, I feel like it's such a privilege because a lot of times I get on these calls and almost always it feels like a long lost friend, right? Or talking to a comadre. It's like we just met, but it goes deep really fast and, people will laugh, will cry, we share together. And a lot of these folks have turned into being friends of mine too, even if they're not local, but from a distance, but, we'll text. And I'm excited to be out there in Chicago so I can, connect with people in person, not just virtually. But I'm really excited about the book because I feel like, there are some books out there for sure. And I can give you recommendations if you want. There are definitely some great books out there, but there's not enough of them. And so I'm excited just to be able to contribute and not just tell parts of my story, but tell parts of stories of other Latinas because, our stories aren't all similar. We come from different backgrounds and have different experiences and go through different things that shape and influence, who we are. And so, painting that broader picture. But I think, the thing I'm most excited about is I just see that more and more of us are really stepping into our power. And with that power, we can really influence change. So I think that's the thing that probably excites me the most.
Thank you. And I have to agree, the hearing of the stories, right? And sharing of stories. And we talk about aha moments. And I think I was a young adult when I started interacting with people that were not like me or my community, right? Or outside of my high school, and started to hear different backgrounds and stories and realized, oh, not everybody grew up the way I grew up. People have different experiences and they have different stories to share. But in those, we have commonalities as well. And that's what connects us. And the differences are what we can celebrate, right? And so I just really, really love the role in the program because I get to hear these stories from you, from the participants in the program in the beginning, and then also at the end when they graduate and they get to share the impact that the program had, impact that I continue to feel in my own personal life 2 years after graduating still. And so, I have to say that, and like you mentioned, the skills that they go through in the program really are life-changing and transformational and things that you probably wouldn't hear otherwise unless you're putting yourself in that space. We did have a question from Melinda. What would you like to see for the future of Mujeres de HACE?
Ooh, that's a good question, Melinda. I definitely want to see more cohorts. I'd like to see, many more cohorts. I think we tend to be really busy in the fall and it kind of slows down at the beginning of the half a year. So I'd love to see that. I think, I'm really excited about the brunch. If you haven't bought your ticket, make sure to get your ticket because it is, I'm sure, going to be a big love fest and reunion. And I mean, I think what I'm most excited about is to be in that energy because when you have a bunch of Latinas together or Latinos at the summit, for example, the energy is just off the chain to be surrounded by so many, professionals and, the people that are ambitious, that are, like-minded, that want to support each other. So that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to. But so I'd love to see more events like that. But what I would think is really cool, and I'm just going to put it in your ear, Melinda and Bernice, is doing some type of like weekend retreat or something like that. I think that would be incredibly awesome, right? Where maybe we go deeper into things and we talk a lot about, the professional side of things, but also kind of digging into some of the, the personal stuff and life stuff, because all of it is really part of our life, right? There is no really work is over here and life is over here. I mean, all of it is your life. And so just to kind of bring that integration together and do that in a way, that, I don't know, we get away in a cabin or something, right? And just have that space for doing some personal development and having some fun and just connecting. That would be good. So I'm putting it out there.
I love that idea. And it's really building that connection, right? Building that bond. Because one thing that the Mujeres is once you're in the program and you leave, that's not the end. You continue to work on yourself and then you get to share that with your community. And then you also get to tap into those Mujeres as resources. And so again, I hear the stories of how, somebody helped me with this and they reviewed this, or, just everybody looking out for one another. And when you talk about the event and the vibe, that's exactly it. I come from a trade show background. Before ASA, I did 16 years in trade shows. And I have to say, when I came to the ASA Summit last year, was the first time that I felt that comunidad, that vibe, surrounded by people that looked like me, talk like me. And so, it was really, really, just one of those moments of like, yes, I'm glad I'm here. This is where I need to be. And so I really want others to really feel that because you really do get that familia vibe when you go to Summit. So thank you so much for sharing, Ruby.
I want to throw in one more thing, actually, just really quick too. The other thing I just thought of this is, I took for granted coming from Chicago. Now I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, but being from Chicago, I took for granted the amount of Latino professionals that were around in the different organizations and events. Now that I'm in North Carolina, it's very fragmented. I know we're here and we have a Latinas in Tech chapter, shout out to Latinas in Tech, that just kicked off about 2 months ago, but there's still not a lot of community. So that's the other thing. I would just love to see expansion and getting into some of the markets because there's such a need and for people, for community, right? For community to have that space, safe space, to have conversations that maybe we can't have in the everyday workplace. So that would be my only other suggestion is,
I love it. Well, use LinkedIn, North Carolina, start connecting and start, creating those connections and start meeting for, that's how it starts. And then you never know what comes out of that. So I think that was Ruby's call to North Carolina to get going.
That's right.
To get going and start making that connection. Ruby, thank you so much for joining us. It was just amazing to have you. And I am so excited to meet you in person next week, get to give you a hug in person, and get to see you receive that recognition along with the other Mujer Maravillas. We will be making the announcement of all the Mujer Maravilla awardees later today. Look for that in our newsletter and look for our information to purchase those tickets, asaonline.org. And that's all for us today. Ruby, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye, y'all. See you next week.